My boyfriend is acting like nothing happened after I sort of cheated, and I'm really concerned, but the truth is now unfolding. My boyfriend, Nathan, 22M, and I, Rachel, 22F, have been together since we were 14. We started dating in year 9 and have been together since. We live together in a flat and have done so for about a year and a half. I live in a city with a lot of students, so there is a lot of affordable housing. Last month, Nathan and I got into a huge argument over my friend, Jenna, who is a particularly heavy drinker. Jenna is the kind of girl who violently vocalizes her opinions, unprovoked, while drunk. I am well aware that she thinks being in an 8-year relationship at 22 is ridiculous. Jenna wasn't the main reason for this argument, but she was definitely the tipping point. We had been having petty arguments about anything and everything. This fight was ugly, and regretfully, I left midway and said, "Nothing, but I can't handle you anymore," before leaving. This argument happened around 6 p.m. And by 10 p.m., I was getting drunk with my friends at a club. Jenna was obviously there among my other friends, and we just got drunk and talked about how I'm still young and have so much to do. The whole night, I just kept drinking. Nathan texted me a few times and called me too, but I didn't open or answer anything. I ended up getting blackout drunk, and the next morning, I woke up in a bed with a man I didn't know. I called one of the friends I had been out with the night before, Callum, to come get me. I asked him to tell me what happened, and long story short, he came over to us, and I was weak. Our other 2 friends tried to stop me from leaving, but I had already gone when they realized what was happening. I told Callum to take me home to Nathan. He asked if I was sure, but at that moment, I couldn't think of anything else. I just wanted to be home. My phone was dying, but I managed to call him a few times before it died. When I got in, he wasn't there, and panic set in very fast. I charged my phone, showered, and just waited. I read his messages from the night before, and they were all apologetic and asking me to please come home. He has my location and texted me asking who I was with. A little bit after the time, Callum said I had left the club, and that was the last text. I got back to the flat at about 9 a.m., and no matter how many times I called and texted, I got no answer. I called his best friend, Liz, and was hung up on. When he came in at around 3 p.m., I broke down immediately and just cried and begged. He didn't cry or anything. He just held me and told me it was fine and that we're fine. I apologized for yelling before leaving and explained what happened. He was patient and quiet. I could tell he was hurt, but it was clear he was trying to calm me down first. That was about 4 weeks ago, and we haven't talked about it since. Anytime I try to bring it up, he just kisses my cheek and shakes his head a little. We're still sleeping in the same bed, having breakfast together, and doing things together as a couple. I was planning on proposing this year, but I don't know how to talk through this with him. He gets visibly upset when I try to approach it, but I know we can't leave it unresolved. A couple of nights ago, we tried to be intimate for the first time since I cheated, and he broke down in my arms. It was the first time I've seen him explicitly cry over what I did. I held him for a bit and then ordered us food while he showered and got cleaned up. I want to help him and be better for the sake of our relationship. Please let me know what I can do to make communication about what's happening easier for both of us. Update 1. Originally, when I brought it up to him, I called it cheating. However, I have since learned some new information that changes the situation. I'm just wondering how I can bring this up and phrase it. I've been struggling to cope, but admittedly, given what he believes happened, I've put him through some struggles too. Update 2. After initially posting, the heat from the comments got to me a little. When pressed by Nathan, I showed him the post. He was upset that so many people thought his reaction was due to his own cheating and that many people were making judgments off of limited information. This obviously ended up opening the conversation on why I made the post in the first place. I don't want to go in-depth about the content of the conversation, but we addressed the petty arguments, my friends, and everything suggested by those who reached out. Thank you. We agreed that therapy is the best option and that neither of us wants distance right now. We're planning to go to the Lake District for a week, just the 2 of us. For those asking about the gap of time where neither myself nor his friend knew where he was with his brother and his wife. As for Jenna, many of you who messaged me privately were correct. I was drugged and assaulted. The man was a friend of Jenna's. He came forward extremely apologetic and said he didn't know I had been on something and thought I was just super drunk, which is why I wasn't as active, his words. He also said he was tipsy, his words, and Jenna had booked an Uber back to his for both of us. He messaged me because a friend of Nathan saw the post and mentioned it to a mutual friend of this man, Kevin. Kevin sent me proof of messages between him and Jenna the day after, which included her attempts at bantering about the situation. Callum and another friend, Louis, brought the situation up to Jenna before I learned about this because both were suspicious. They got her to admit that she wanted to give me a taste of what else is out there. Charges are being pressed, and the police are involved. Before this, she had made attempts to reach out and see how I was doing, but I spent all my time in person with my boyfriend as she was the last person I wanted to see, regardless of knowing she got me assaulted. Explaining the situation again with what I had learned was difficult. We both cried, comforted each other, and cried some more. He broke down and had a panic attack. He felt guilty for being upset, and I reminded him that neither of us knew, and it's a natural reaction. We spent that entire night talking and talking endlessly, trying to find ways to communicate better and handle each other more maturely, especially regarding the arguments and disagreements we had before this. Thank you to all the people who gave me the courage to speak to my boyfriend and see the situation from a different light. The morning after, we had calmed down a lot and talked about where we should go from here. My boyfriend was there with me when I went to the police station. I know we aren't going to heal overnight, but I am grateful to know this kind of love. I haven't spoken to my friends much other than Callum and Louis, but since filing the charges, I've kept my distance. Some of our mutual friends are mixed on the situation, but their opinions are the least of my concerns. My days are primarily spent alone with Nathan or around his family and friends. Thank you for all the comments and advice I received. I am very grateful to the people who helped me understand that what happened to me was not consensual and that women can be victims too. I owe you my life.